is actually their defending stats aren't awful. Attack, they are the best of the worst, so like fourth from bottom, with our bottom three teams being the ones that all find themselves just slightly below them. So it's going to be rough no matter which way you look at it, but I do think you're going to see them having at least some kind of victories throughout this as well. But update your Windows Defender. Come on now. Good lad.
Got to get them updates done, Des. Get them updates done.
I assumed that's what it said. I just saw Windows Defender and assumed. I was like, okay, I guess that says resume
to be
Windows
fair,
Defender.
I thought you'd
yeah,
become
sure.
fluent in Portuguese really quickly. I mean, this one, yeah, I think, like I said, I think NIP are certainly showing signs of improvement over what we've seen over the last sort of 6 to 12 months. Are they quite back to a point of, you know, doing great against FaZe on defense of Skyscraper to be? I think that's going to be a big ask. But let's not forget, FaZe in the second half have got to attack Skyscraper. Really, what we're talking about here, it's not even necessarily NIP against FaZe. It's NIP against attacking Skyscraper. And FaZe are going to have to do that as well. So, you know, there's definitely possibilities there for NIP to be picking up some rounds. They just need to let this, make sure this one doesn't get away from them too quickly.
Also, obviously worth it, as you saw seeing in the chat a second ago. Happy birthday to Hates, as it's been pointed out. Today is his birthday. I'm sure he'll be fancying an NIP win, of course. I'm sure FaZe don't quite fancy giving him that gift. We'll see what happens as we step into it. And to kick things off on Karaoke and T, FaZe starting themselves off over on that side. I imagine then we'll find ourselves going downstairs before we head over towards Exhibition Office, because we've seen quite a dance of sites, but Barbecue Kitchen quite consistently seems to be the second preferred site for most teams at this level. To be fair, normally it's Karaoke and Tea is the one that gets avoided, so I'm kind of surprised we started there.
Yeah, if any are going to, then yeah, I would agree with that. Let's get into it then. We're going to go straight away. We've got some shields coming in. It's going to be the Blackbeard. Bans, Monty, and Thermite. Thermite, an interesting choice here. Not generally too much Thermite use. I know immediately people are going to say, no, but you want to breach the office wall. You want to breach Geisha wall. In all honesty, generally do it with Ace instead, because you're doing it from rappel on balconies. So if you want to breach those walls, I always prefer a Thermite breach because I think it gives you great access. But yeah, generally, like if you look at an office exhibition take, bring Ace, you can do reception wall, you can do 2 charges onto office wall, and you're fine. It's not a major problem. So I'm not sure how much the Thermite ban really gains FaZe.
So we'll see how things step forward and see how much that actually impacts them as we go through the half. Hates already being tagged with a bit of a love bite from FaZe early on, down to a slither of HP here. Of course, on that Deimos with all utilities still up, he's got access to his 2 tracks. He's got his nade in back pocket. Still quite a bit of work that he can do here, so good to be alive. But look at this, here comes Cyber on the rounding, and they do not have a Scooby, and he's going to find 2 kills as Hate steps up at just the wrong time, walks into the line of fire. 2 kills over to FaZe already, and the first round, well, FaZe are flying.
That's going to be the big problem that they end up having, realistically, is not keeping a control of these FaZe players. Like I say, FaZe take away the Thermite. I don't think that's going to have that much of an impact. I think coming in and shooting 2 players in the side with them, absolutely having no idea that Cyber was roaming around, that is what is going to do the damage, and that's what NIP really need to focus on here rather than worrying about anything else. But 5 versus 3, FaZe can play this smart now. They can kind of just dip back, hold their lines of sight, and, you know, Lax was saying it in the pre-desk there, he was saying, you know, it's a difficult map to attack onto. You're always playing through single doors, through windows, you're having to take fights, 1v1, 1v2, and that's the position that NIP find themselves in now. FaZe really don't need to give them anything. They are going to get... Ooh, I was going to say cut down, but he kind of manages to save Handy's life there. Pops up the stairs. No, he's going for it. Cyber's just killing everybody at this point. Wizard does manage to find a double. 3 versus 2, 30 seconds left to go. FaZe should still be able to hold on.
I say FaZe surely here at this point can hold things up. I thought for a second then they'd be able to get away with killing the Blackbeard, and then the second man coming in through Geisha for a flawless round, but no. They are finally stopped, but this Blackbeard becoming a bit of thorn in their side right now. They've got to do something about it. Got back up with the team players there. Cons having the assist on towards Wizard there, and 2 more kills fly through. Just like that, Tim. What was basically a 2 versus 5 for the longest time is now a 2 versus 1. But it's trusty old Souls here, and we know that he doesn't lose these, Tim. Of course he doesn't. A massive 2K, and he saves the round for FaZe.
How kind of FaZe to give us in the first round a perfect example of why this is going to be so difficult for NIP to attack onto them. NIP did almost everything right there. They were 3v5. They've absolutely bullied FaZe in the late round. They've got themselves into a planting position. It's 2v1. They're on the cover. They've got a Blackbeard. What more do you want in a late round situation? I'll tell you what more you want, and that is not to be facing off against Souls, who is... I remember, I've probably told this story before. I remember before the Sweden major in Gävle in November 2021, the one that FaZe won, we often will go through as a whole team, all the casters, analysts, everything. We'll go through kind of a bit of a story meeting of all the different teams that are there. And so I'd made notes on all the different teams before coming into, and I'd been covering Brazil quite extensively at that point. And my entirety of my notes against FaZe were that they could win the tournament, which they did, but was watch out for Souls. He's the most clutch player in the world. And he got an insane 1v1 in the semi-final against Rin. You know, kept FaZe in it, essentially. It was whoever won the 1v1 went through to the final, and Souls won it. I think he had some ridiculous amount of clutches through the tournament. I remember a really good one in Oregon Kitchen as well. And then he just continues now. We're 4 years on, and he's still doing it. It's just unbelievable. It's all you need to know about FaZe is Souls is the most clutch player in the world.
It's so funny that you've got such a reliable backliner in the form of Souls, and then in the front line you've got one of the most chaotic guys in Cyber, which really, I think almost without this team it wouldn't be FaZe, because he injects that little bit of unpredictability and energy into the team, where the other players might be a little bit calmer and a bit more composed. It does mean that they've got power at both ends of it, and there's a reason why they're the current world champions as well. Every single player has had so much of this team that you can't really see a FaZe that exists without them. And here we go. Cyber's at it again. I spoke about him being the erratic, crazy one. He's got himself 2 kills to start the round off. Exactly the way that he started, Tim, in round 1.
I would say it'd be better for NIP if they could stop Cyber getting 2 kills at the beginning of every round. That's not going to help them, generally speaking. They've got to find a way to calm Cyber down, because right now he's 5-1, and again he's one of these players that he's just shown a consistent ability over the years to just once he's playing loose, once he's running around and he's just picking kills up, he's an absolute nightmare to play against. We're going to just take the Selma charge off the wall. No, they're not. They're going to send the impact nade out, but actually it missed the throw, and it will be fully opened up. To be honest, even the line of sight is significant enough to stop somebody playing behind small bar, so had it been successful, the job would still have been done. But 3 versus 5, NIP feel like they've stalled out a little bit here. They're waiting for an opportunity. They're waiting for FaZe to give them something.
They need fancy to do something.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed in FaZe if they do give them anything, because there's no need to. Just force them to come on into the map.
It's a rough one here, really, because this is where normally you have a player pushing in from drum to come and challenge onto the players that are in terrace to give some freedom to your players trying to push in through the door, but there is no such player to come because Vidaking's holding that spot, and also, of course, you're a couple of players down. It's always going to be a rough ass to fight your way back in. Looking like a flawless round is on the cards here, unless Hates can get us something. I don't care that it's his birthday. He is being given nothing except an outright shutdown. FaZe are up 2-0.
A good start for FaZe. A tough round in round 1, and then a pretty easy round in round 2. Most of NIP didn't make it in the building. One of the only kills that came, there was the early 2 kills, but obviously they were right at the beginning of the round. But then Fantasy did manage to get in through the tea room side, but was cut down at the point that he got to Dragon, and then the rest was the rest. So good stuff from FaZe. They're going to lock it out 2-0. Foxy is going to be sat there watching intently, and
salivating right now.
He's going to be pretty happy with what he sees.
I guarantee you, he is salivating that he might be right on this one. Well, we'll see if it carries on.
This is the defining moment, really.
We'll see if NIP can fight their way back in or not, because as it stands across those first 2 rounds, I agree with him. It's not going to happen. It's been a rough couple of rounds, but honestly, the simple answer is, Tim, let's focus on problem number 1. Stop giving Cyber the first 2 kills of the round.
It's all about this. If they can get Kitchen Barbecue, then Fox could definitely be right. They may well then just rinse and repeat and do all 6. I'm sticking with 5-1 here. I think NIP, after that first round, they've given me a bit of hope. I think that they grab a round somewhere. Yeah, the far bigger question of this match, like I say, I don't really feel like it's a question of FaZe versus NIP. I feel like it's a FaZe versus attacking Skyscraper and an NIP versus attacking Skyscraper. Is certainly more of the opponent. Need to be careful there. Just came across the back of Cons and could have ended up with a little team kill, just a little bit of crossover there. But as it is, they're going to open up that exhibition window. Cyber, who else is going to be on the roam, running at the barricades that are being taken down and ready for a fight?
He's there to waste a bit of time. He's got Vida King also just above him as well, as you can see, exhibitions where he's currently standing. So there are the two of them out here looking to play as a pairing. The one thing I always watch, some teams on this map try and do very, very effectively then is cut out these would-be roamers. You get a player up on Shrine window, for example. Maybe you're watching Terrace at the same time, and you just try and cut them off as you fall back. But the challenge you're always going to have is either they can slip down to that lower floor, dropping through hatches, for example, or down house stairs, or potentially you get one of the third players on the team and then trying to challenge on towards Shrine or towards Terrace itself. And before you know it, you're losing players, just hopefully trying to get a bit of a cut-off on a retreat back towards site. It can be really hard to fight your way back through. Fantasy, he was the man who needed to make magic happen in the last round. It's SAL starting out with the entry here. Nothing really for that striker to do.
Yeah, 3 rounds, 3 entries going in the direction of FaZe. NIP desperately need to wake up into this one as quickly as possible. Like, they had that bit of a flourish in the middle of round 1, but other than that, it has been all FaZe, and you just feel like every time they step in the building, they're going to be threatened, they're going to be challenged. Souls manages to get one. Wizard is downed as well, and right now it is looking comfortable. It is looking easy for FaZe as the kills come in. Hits manages to stop it being a flawless round, but I think that's all he's going to achieve inside of this round realistically. Takes a load of damage there. FaZe are waiting. I don't think he knows this one. Just hiding around the corner. Vida King steps out with the shorty and manages to get the final kill. FaZe 3-0.
Maybe a little tack timeout on the cards here for NIP, I want to say, because they have just been absolutely slaughtered those first 3 rounds. Of course, let's go through the ban first to see if that is going to be the case, but I feel like now is the time to have that conversation. We know FaZe are a top team. We know they're going to be hard to beat, but you need to get something on the board in this first half, and at least that's going so far. They came close once, but Souls obviously very quickly shut that one down. Outside of that, they've not really looked close in any of these rounds, Tim.
No, I mean, Soul, Cyber and Handy at the minute are 13-3 between the 3 of them combined, and that's across 3 rounds. 13-3. So out of 15 kills, they've got 13 of them. Soul, Cyber and Handy. Just absolutely unbelievable stuff. KDS and Vida King were there as well, you know.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, they weren't in the picture, but they were there.
I love to see that Cyber's on a commendation streak as well. A good example for him to be set in there for the rest of his team. Getting those commendations in.
Goody 2 shoes.
He wants his bonuses. He wants his bonuses, Des. Get those rewards in for the reputation system. That's
to be fair, mate, if he's carrying me, he's getting a commendation from me.
There you go, you see. I'd give him a commendation based on what I've seen so far. What would I give it him for? I think I'd give him a commendation for dedication at the minute.
All right.
Maybe leadership.
Sounds like a whole presidential speech is on the line if you're giving him one for dedication.
Oh, dearie me. He's absolutely flying at the minute. So 3-0 it is for FaZe. They're starting to run away with this a little bit. There was concerns raised coming into Skyscraper with FaZe starting on the defense. NRP taking a tough choice and maybe not making the right one. Like I said, I think the second half is going to be a much more telling half as to whether FaZe can get it done on attack or not. But for the time being, they are certainly still on course for that 6-0 half.
All right. Well, let's see if the speed run continues or if NIP, after that little pep talk with the coach, managing to turn things around. Again, for me, they need to stop bleeding out so much in the early round. A lot of it has been down to Cyber, but in that last round, it was Fantasy stepping in for a 1v1 challenge on towards Souls that in 99% of the cases, you're going to lose. And it will be the case against any member of FaZe here. So team play is really where it's going to be at. That means making sure you've got your drone net set up here because you've let Cyber through it a couple of times. He has punished you hard for it. It means trying to force players into these uncomfortable 1vx situations and praying that you come out on top. We haven't seen any of that NIP so far. It's been very, very laboured and very, very scared in the playstyle. I want to see that change in this round.
Brava is going to be brought out in round 4, having not been banned. It's the blitz that has been taken away, and I think it's this situation again that I spoke about. Sometimes just avoiding using that operator for the first 3 rounds and then bring it out 4, 5, 6 to try and avoid it getting banned out, essentially. So Brava is going to be running a rampant through the map. What is there to grab? Not too much, to be honest. Banshees, mute jammers, 1 bulletproof, so not a huge amount, but still some key stuff.
Some key stuff. Enough stuff. Just to try and help, but help is probably more than they need right now. Not enough, to fair. They need more than that. It's still going to be the entry going the way of Cyber, who again is absolutely running rampant here. It's the Deimos to go down as well. Arguably the worst operator to catch early on, because that is your hope for tracking down someone like Cyber.
Yeah, big loss there for NIP. They've still got the Blackbeard on side when it comes to being able to push into site and bully these FaZe players around. But in all honesty, Cyber's the one you've got to deal with at the minute, because he's off out in the map and he's just going to pop up when you least expect it. He's going to make a nuisance of himself. They've got the Hibana opening up Geisha wall. That's at least going to apply a little bit of pressure to that corner of the map. It was something that we didn't see NIP do too much of last time around. Handy was playing in this same position, was able to command that for a good while. Did eventually get challenged from the window, I think it was. It was just then as he was trying to leave Geisha that he got cut down and couldn't be collected by Cyber ultimately. But FaZe, just for me, are playing this one a little bit more gently than maybe they did last time. Waiting for their opportunities and taking them. Souls with a beautiful kill.
This is it though, to slow it down when you feel like they're the ones who are going to be approaching around a bit more sensibly. You just match them at that pace as well. It's what the Des was talking about. They force teams to match their tempo. It's always FaZe in control, and they are bullying them. 2 more C4 kills overall. Just, anyway, 2 C4s thrown, 2 C4 kills secure. What more is it to say? Looking like another flawless round could be on the way until Hates gets at least 1 back. But it looks like that attack timeout has done very little to change the fortunes of NIP.
That's 2 rounds now that Hates has had to get a kill to stop it being a flawless round. Successfully spoils the party again, but I don't think that FaZe will mind. They're still going to be dancing and having plenty of food and enjoying themselves at this party because they get themselves round 4. 4-0 now. Vitikin closing that one out, and honestly, NIP, unfortunately for them, and I think it says more about FaZe than, and maybe the map, than it does about NIP, but not even really competitive at the minute.
Yes, they sorely need to get something changed because it is not working. And I go as far as probably saying it's not about the 6-0 anymore. I now start to worry very seriously about a 7-0.
They've only had 6 kills in 4 rounds.
Yeah. And I know that I'm always
available.
the first one to say that I'm a fan. Sorry, there's 2 halves to a game of Siege. I'm a fan of the say, and I get it. I'm still worried that we'll get into that second half. FaZe will come out with one of their clinical attacks. NIP will crumble, and it's just done.
It certainly could be. You know, it's of course mathematically still on the cards, but we're talking more here about the nature of the 4 rounds. NIP have only been close on 1. They got it down to a 2v1. So let's also look at it that way. I've just pointed out that they've only got 6 kills on side. 4 of those came in round 1. So round 2 to 4, they've had 2 kills out of a possible 15. And that has to improve.
Yeah. Not looking pretty. Here we go. Cyber doing Cyber things, and as I said, it's another freebie coming in. They should know about these things by now. These are the sort of things that you see being whipped out in rank, for God's sake, but almost managing to catch out Fantasy there. You lose the Sens early on, you lose all that utility. That would have been a real stinger. I mean, Cyber, to be fair, is lucky to still be alive, but again, we could be in a 5 versus 4 already in a manner that should not be obtainable at this level of play.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the confidence that he's playing with today. He knows the game that he's having. He knows that he's absolutely on top of them at the minute. Handy is going to relocate to lower black stairs. Takes a drone out as he does so. He did open himself up a vertical to be able to watch this approach to the bottom of black stairs, but instead decides to front it up and go direct. Nearly has the opportunity. I'm not sure if he knows about the man on the opposite side. He's just going to watch the doorway for the time being, and if Pino's not aware, he's actually diverted away and gone through kitchen. That might just save his life.
May well do, but still another entry going the way of FaZe. It's Handy this time who, yes, they had the right idea. This 2v1 jump up on him, but they still come away the loser, even with one of the two being a shield bearing down on his face. FaZe just looking very largely unbothered right now, and I'm concerned again that NIP will struggle to find anything. But here we go. Pino's on the march on forward, still looking for his first kill in this entire game. Right idea is there's a playoff towards his left, but I don't know if he knows about it. I say that, and he's down his backside. And then we'll finally get the finish off. There we go.
The problem is that it's taken 1 minute 50 for NIP to corner Handy there. They're attacking onto Office and Exhibition. This isn't even the side of the map. It's not even the same floor. You know, that's a problem for NIP, that all that time has been spent trying to chase down Handy and create a situation to find a kill. And they're not even anywhere near sight yet. Vitaking manages to pick up Wizard. That's going to be your Nomad gone as well. So now it's 3 versus 4. And you're low on time. 45 seconds to go. You haven't breached the wall into sight. You haven't got yourself established on top floor, realistically. You've got Cyber still roaming underneath, who could pop up from drum stairs or black stairs. There's big problems here for NIP.
I was going to say a big frustration point for me would have been comparing it back to our last game. Trade play was on a high back on Cafe. Here, it's been very, very isolated play coming out from members of NIP so far. Just when it looked like maybe they were in with a chance of getting around over the line, it's all going to crumble to Vidaking and Cyber. He starts out the round and he closes it in a similar fashion. 5-0 to FaZe.
Can we just appreciate that Cyber was on about 10 HP and got 2 kills in a 2v3 to get the round over the line for FaZe there? That's absolutely ridiculous. He was hit.
I don't think,
massively.
Tim, what you've really appreciated was that was intentional. He wanted to handicap himself for the round to make it a little bit more challenging.
Give him a chance. He's like, Fantasies absolutely smashed him up at the beginning of the round and took him down to about 10-15 health. And then he's just run around the map, not been stopped. NIP haven't been able to find him. And then he just comes back in from drum stairs at the end, picks up 2 kills and helps win the round, even when NIP have got man advantage. It's just wild. So either me or Fox are going to be right here at this point. I went 5-1. Fox went 6-0. And we're going to get at least one or the other. It's the third choice site. It's Kitchen Barbecue. But yeah, FaZe just look on another level at the minute.
Yes. I am struggling to see how NIP get the way into the game. Because like I've called for throughout the half, like I want to see more focused team play, more trade-based. If you're losing players and you're getting trades off the back of it, okay. If you're trying to get kills off the back of someone else dying and you're still dying, okay, at least you're trying. But it's been the isolated play that I think has cost them so many key operators throughout these rounds that when it's come around to actually pulling together and trying to make a play happen, it's simply not working. So I want to see them really isolate down here. Try and get hold of Cyber if you can. Deal with Vidaking. You've seen them play this 2-person ascension before. You know that KDS is trying to support them from inside of Shrine. This is all known siege from FaZe. There is nothing too surprising here. NIP should be wise enough to deal with it.
They can't let Cyber get away with this, quite frankly. If he gets himself a kill from this position after they've shot open that barricade, it just cannot. Somebody's got to stop it. It cannot be allowed. Nobody's going to go for it at the minute. Cyber gets a little bit carried away and finally is dealt with. Cons managing to get the first entry kill for NIP. Can they back it up with a round and prove me right? Come on, NIP.
Drone going up.
Is it time? It's just one. Yeah, there you go. And all things equal.
It's over. It's over.
It's pretty cooked. There's a call coming out, though, at the very least. They know where all these players are. There should be no surprises during this next 15, 20 seconds or so because they know where the players are. They're getting focused on the execute. They don't need to be going in and looking for crazy kills at this moment. So just pause for a second, get ourselves focused on the execute, play as a team, and that's when fortunes could change. They've missed a golden opportunity to get a freebie onto Vidaking there as well.
Yeah, nothing Pino could do to widen the angle and get that shot through onto the Legion. So the opportunity will pass him by like a ship in the night. And they will have to continue looking for others elsewhere. 1 minute 15 left on the clock. And again, NIP not really in a position, you know, where they're anywhere near an execute. They don't have the control they need. There's still a FaZe player inside of Geisha, for example. Handy's playing inside there. That is a big, big problem. You're not going to get a plant down while that's still the case. A minute left. They're only just about to start opening the wall here. EMP goes off, does not get rid of the electrical. Next one will do, so they'll get that open. But it's going to be, what, 45 seconds?
Oh my God.
They're not even going to get it open. I was going to say 45 seconds on the clock if they're lucky when they open it, but that's not even going to be the case.
Like, you have to be quick there. I get it, you're afraid of the jump out, but the fact you're trying to put on 2 sets of 6, you aren't ready with the X-Kairos as soon as the EMP comes through. In fact, the first EMP misses anyway, like, oh. You just orchestrate what you're doing and give Handy all the room in the world to be able to get the second one down and block off that wall. They haven't got control. Now they're trying to get themselves in. They're walking into their own flashbangs on the way on through. It's looking pretty messy at this point, Tim, but at least they're in, looking in completely the wrong places to where these players are. Surely they get chewed up and spat out at some point. And there we go.
Certainly, KDS takes down here. It's 4v2. That's a triple in the round. Handy manages to get one, and it is up to Pino, but he gets closed out. And Foxy was completely right. 6-0 on the defense for FaZe, and it's looking like it could get even worse for NIP.
Oh, brother. Man, I mean, again, I knew their attacking like percentages were bad, but like that's really showed itself up there big time. Again, there's a little bit of solace to take in that they're not too bad on the defensive side, but you've got to win 6 rounds on the bounce against one of our top teams. Don't really see that one happening, Chief, I won't lie. And it was plain for all to see on screen there, all the things that were going wrong. Struggling to get the wall opened up, self-flashing themselves, no information when actually pushing inside the building. It just felt like, I don't know, a team that were trying to meander their way through there and just kind of hoping for the best. You know what that was, Tim? They were playing on vibes. That's exactly what that was. They were playing on vibes.
It was just, you know what, this is kind of working today, isn't it? So we'll just have a little run around and see what we can find. And it's found 6 rounds for them. NIP are going to take the ban phase. It's going to be double shields. Honestly, I don't think that's a bad choice against FaZe, who would definitely have probably brought the blitz and just run into sight. They've still got Blackbeard to possibly deal with. Not in the lineup at the moment. Cyber on Deimos, that just seems like a horrible possibility.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Cyber on anything in this game feels pretty horrible, to be fair. With the kind of game that he's had so far, I don't really fancy him playing on anything against me. I certainly won't want to be in the server against him right now. I imagine he'll be the one charging in, trying to make a difference for his team early on. We've seen him be consistently that entry player for FaZe. It'll be no doubt no different here on this side of the map at the same time. If they stick on the glass as well, for example, we've got a spicy execute coming up. I'd be surprised if this is our final comp layout. Right now, it's more trying to find out, okay, where are they playing? What operators have they got? And then we'll see some changes start to come on through.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Let's get into it. Can NIP survive? The only way they can look at things at the minute is 1 round at a time. They just have to hold on as best they can, but the pressure is going to mount. It's going to mount quickly from FaZe. They've got the glass on side as well as the Deimos, so movement is going to be a problem for NIP. They're going to be playing in and around smokes, I would expect, with the glass scope looking on through, and then they're going to have Cyber underneath chasing them down. I think he's got some drones ahead of him as well as the possibility of those Deimos scans. He knows that there's somebody around the backside of Kitchen.
Yes, that's one thing to worry about for the side of NIP, but it's everything else that can come after them at the same time. There'll be like no safe movements to make. You've got Handy playing on the 0, so information's going to be on their side. Cyber almost getting taken out there. And that was a shot through the ceiling that might have almost caused him out there. I'm not quite sure. In fact, no, maybe it's back of Kitchen, sees his man, and he still comes out on top because, of course, he does. He's Cyber.
How does Pino lose that, realistically? You know, we saw a great reactionary shot from Cyber, but he didn't get a headshot. He didn't get the kill immediately. He was half health going into that fight. I don't want to be that directly critical of it, but Pino's got to be getting that kill. You know, this is why they are 6-0 down. Just an absolute... this is over.
Yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss of words again, how someone could so freely walk up there. Yes, you've got the assist of the player coming in from the balcony, but this is what we've been speaking about for NIP. Wanting to see team play for all of that first half and saw very little of it. Souls is in, Plant is going on down. It's a 4 versus 2. NIP, this has easily been one of the most dominant affairs that we have seen across all regions, I'd say, so far this stage. No way they fight their way back into this one, unfortunately. Between them all, have got how many? 7, 11 kills across the entire game? Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, it's been tough. They've got a double stack on that window as well. This is just painful to watch. Cyber manages to get another trades for the last phase, come away with a 7-0 win and look absolutely clinical doing it.